How's it going, guys? Thank you for joining me today in this episode where I will be giving you an intimate look into my life living with something called Moebius Syndrome, which if you've seen my past videos on this, you'll kind of already have the general idea of what this is. If this is your first time watching one of these videos, again, thank you so much for tuning in. And it really does mean the world to me that people watch these videos and hopefully start to have a greater understanding and awareness of what Moebius syndrome is and how it impacts myself and other individuals that live with this condition. So let's start right off by saying it is an incredibly rare condition. It is not common. It is not something that you see widely discussed in the media or online. I mean, it's just not heavily discussed. Once in a while, you will see a news outlet say something about it. Surprisingly, last year, one of my favorite shows now on ABC, it's called The Good Doctor, they did actually feature an episode with a patient that had Moebius syndrome. And while the actress is a younger girl, so I think she probably did the best she could, I think they definitely could have done even better with an actress that maybe actually had the condition. But that's just my opinion on that. But nevertheless, so what Moebius syndrome is it impacts the 6th and 7th craniofacial nerves, meaning the face is almost always paralyzed, and it goes on a case-by-case basis. So some people have very mild symptoms of the condition, meaning you can almost barely tell that they have Moebius. Other people, the physical appearance impact on them is very severe, and it just depends on each case. I would say in terms of the appearance side of it, it's a relatively mild case. You can tell I have a slight speech challenge. That is mostly just because I have a partially paralyzed tongue. So I can't really move my tongue in the same way that most people can. So I can't really stick it out. I can't, when I am eating and drinking, I have to be very careful because that does put me at a greater choking risk. Also at a greater choking risk because I have a critical airway. So meaning that if I do choke or do get sick, I have to really be careful with that. Now when I was an infant, I couldn't breathe properly. So not to gross anybody out, but I do have this here. Which I do not, I never show this in pictures very often, or on video. I've never even shown this in my past videos on Moebius, but I'm doing it right now. This is my trach scar from when I was an infant. It actually became infected. It was kind of a scary thing actually, last August. And while I think I'm mostly okay, I'm still having complications, I think, because I still feel myself bleeding very heavily, and I really going to have to see a specialist soon because something definitely is not right with that. But it is what it is. On top of that, besides like the face and everything else, the bleeding, I can't lose my eyes side to side, which obviously impacts my ability to drive. That doesn't mean I've given up on driving entirely. It just means that I, for the time being, have been kind of like hesitant because I don't want to cause a situation where someone gets killed or hurt, or I get killed or hurt. But I have not very good side vision or peripheral vision, I think they call it. On top of that, I have bone abnormalities in both my hands and my legs. I'm not going to stand up, but if I was to stand up, you would see when I walk, my left leg is a little bit crooked because the bone structure and how it turned out like that. My wrist is obviously a little bit, the bone abnormality in my wrist is apparent as well. So I have all these symptoms, physical symptoms of this condition, um, and also arthritis in my feet as well. But I could give you a laundry list and go on about physical ways that this condition impacts me, but really, what it impacts the most is social. It is the social impact. My book is titled I Smile with My Eyes. And I called it that because when I was young, my mother always said to me, TJ, you smile with your eyes. Even though I can't smile when someone's telling me a joke or I'm just saying hi to somebody, I'm talking to people, she always said, and other people would say this to me too, that my body language and my eyes said all that needed to be said. And that really stuck with me all these years. So I thought that was a very fitting title for my book. And going back to the social element of it, there are so many, not so many, there are a few Facebook groups about Moebius syndrome, and the discussions that I see every day. I mean, I'm always looking through these discussion groups, and almost every single post is like, yep, that impacts me 100%, I can relate to it. And the one thing that always hits me the hardest is that people just like me with my condition, they feel the social element of it, because it's very difficult to get past that. That's not to say I don't have friends. I have plenty of amazing friends that care about me, and my family loves me, and I'm very blessed for all those reasons. But the one thing I will say is, especially in my case, I've always desired to have all of the same social experiences, and by that, I guess the right way to say it is just dating and romance and love. And in 2020, that kind of came to fruition. As I will discuss in my book, I won't give it all away, but I did have a glimpse of hope. I had met somebody a couple years back, and we had what I would consider to be the beginning of the relationship. And unfortunately, things didn't go as I personally hoped. She decided to go a different direction, and she met a new guy. And I'm only human. Did that hurt me for a while? Yes. Did that put me into a state of depression and just general darkness? Yeah, I won't say no, it didn't, because of course it did. But then I took a step back, and I realized that life is what you make it. You can stay depressed and never move on, but all you're doing is destroying yourself in the process and destroying your own life. The best way to move on is to just simply pick yourself up by your bootstraps, wake up one day, and just realize, hey, you know what? I gotta snap out of this. And that's quite honestly what I did. Now, I also accept that some people don't have that capacity or that ability to do so naturally. And again, it took me weeks to come to this understanding. But the reason I'm talking about this is because for once in my life, I can say that I finally did have a small taste of normalcy when it comes to having that feeling of affection. And I don't know if I don't want to call it romance, but it was definitely affection. And someone was giving me a chance and not making me feel like just a disabled freak. Basically, I hate to say it like that, but that's essentially how it feels. And I'm so grateful for that. And while it didn't turn out in my favor in the end, and she took a different direction and met somebody else, I look back with absolute fondness and gratefulness, because now that I have moved out of that stage of depression and sadness over it, I realized I was given an opportunity that I had been seeking my entire life, which was a chance. So I can't say I wasn't given a chance. And the reason why, again, why I'm discussing this in this video is because in my past videos about Moebius syndrome, I expressed how I felt like I was facing real challenges because of my condition, making that connection with a woman. And that's something I'm very open about. Well, I guess you could say last year I kind of crossed that bridge. And I did do that. And again, while it didn't ultimately turn out in my favor, I had that life experience. And will I have that again? I hope so. But I am being completely open and candid with you guys. Hopefully this doesn't make anybody uncomfortable. But this is the truth. This is the reality of my life. And I always like to say, when it comes to dating and romance, people with Moebius syndrome, and really any other condition that impacts you physically, appearance-wise, while not totally impact you in every capacity in terms of not mentally, it's very difficult because you are well aware of the social challenges that you face. And as I had always said in the past too, and I still feel this way, I like to say that there is an imaginary wall or a barrier between myself and the person that I might be trying to make a real connection with, like let's say in a relationship sense. And at least 2 or 3 times in my life, let's say, at least 2 times, I have gotten to what I thought was so close. I thought I had gotten past that barrier, and in hindsight, I realized that I didn't. And I think it's because ultimately it is very difficult for people to get past, and I'm not just saying women, but people in general, men and women, to get past physical differences, physical flaws. And it's a very nice sentiment to just say, well, I don't judge people based on looks, I'm not like that, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's only human nature. It's a human condition that we look at looks and appearance and sound and everything else about a person, and we bundle that in as a package. And my biggest concern is because of Moebius, I will never be that entire package to somebody that I am attracted to. And so I'm kind of going off into a tangent now about this stuff. I want to make that clear that, you know, I'm not perfect. I don't think it'd be perfect. But I think that I would like to see more awareness happen. You know, spread this awareness of this condition. Because it is so crucial that while you should never minimize somebody's life living with a condition, you should always try to understand them. And I'm not just saying me, I'm saying anyone. You know, treat them with compassion, but also with understanding. So I'll leave this video here for now, guys. I hope that you found it somewhat useful. With that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, have a great night and peace out for now.